But the big news coming out of the past week, or matter of fact, I should say weekend, major injuries going on. The first being A.J. Minter, who we talked about on the last edition of the report. It was speculated that he would just go on the 15-day injured list and he would be back. There was no timetable for his return. It has since been revealed that A.J. Minter, he will be done for the year. He has a lat injury. He's going to get surgery. It's going to be season-ending surgery. Then on top of that, Danny Young had some discomfort. He has a sprained ligament in his elbow, and he's opting for season-ending Tommy John surgery. Anybody who knows anything about baseball knows if a pitcher gets Tommy John, that's a season killer right there. Danny Young is going to be gone the rest of this season, and is probably going to affect his availability for next season since he's getting this surgery uh, in the midst of this season, which has already started. So the Mets bullpen shaken up, losing two key pieces. Of course, A.J. Minter was supposed to be one of the key setup men to lead to Edwin Diaz. The other setup man, of course, being Ryan Stanek. But um, this is devastating news for the Mets bullpen. Of course, Danny Young was a staple of the Mets bullpen in that magical run 2024 last season. A.J. Minter, who had a shortened year last year as well. Of course, he had the hip surgery in the offseason after having an injury plagued year last year, his final year with the Braves. Signs with the Mets this year. Uh, Minter was looking good. He had great numbers to start this season. After a rocky start, he had settled down. Uh, A.J. Minter, again, he's going to get surgery on that lat. He will be gone. He had a 1.64 ERA and 14 strikeouts in his time in a Mets uniform this season. So this Mets bullpen sorely going to miss both Danny Young and A.J. Minter. So with two of the linchpins of the Mets bullpen being out, where do the Mets go? Of course, as we spoke about on the last edition of the Metropolitan Report last week, the Mets had Jose Urena come up to pitch in relief. He got a 3-out save against the Nationals last week, but they designated him for assignment the very next day. So Urena is gone. He's no longer an option. The Mets are going to fill their bullpen. They're calling up Daniel Nunez, who again was another cog in this bullpen last season. I'm surprised he didn't get called up sooner, seeing as how he was in spring training injured, working his way back from injury, but was relatively healthy. But Daniel Nunez, he is going to he is going to be on this Mets roster. They have selected his contract from Syracuse, so he will be joining the bullpen, as well as veteran Genesis Cabrera. Cabrera, of course, the former St. Louis Cardinal, veteran hand, lifetime 17 and 14 win loss record with a 3.88 ERA. Genesis Cabrera, longtime veteran reliever, somebody who won't pitch the lights out, but can be relied on to get you a good inning here and there. Cabrera was picked up by the Mets on or 4 days ago on May 1st. So a new signee to this Mets organization. They needed somebody. They didn't have many internal options as far as who they could go to. I understand that Brandon Waddell, who pitched in relief a scoreless 4 1/3 innings against Arizona last week, had a good showing. But they want to keep his arm warm. They want to get him some more development past that one appearance. They want to keep him fresh, and he has minor league options that the team could work with. If there's one more injury to this bullpen, then I can see Waddell being called back up. But the Mets opting for veteran Genesis Cabrera. He was a free agent. So Cabrera and Nunez are going to fill the spots of Minter and Young. But is it going to be effective? Like I said, Deadneil Nunez, you want to look at Nunez. Deadneil Nunez was a key part of this Mets bullpen last season, as I stated previously. And, Deadneil Nunez, he was up and down last season, but towards the latter half of last season, he was really good. This is only going to be his second full year in the bigs. Last season, he went 2-0 with a 2.31 ERA. As of this recording right now, again, we are recording as the Mets are playing the Diamondbacks right now out in Arizona. Daniel Nunez has not logged an appearance so far this season. There is a chance he could be used in this game tonight. Remains to be seen. But Nunez, I'm glad to see him back. Daniel Nunez, his fastball is very nasty. I think Daniel Nunez, if he could pick up where he left off at the end of last season, despite the injury that he had to rehab through to start the year in spring, I think Daniel Nunez will be very good for this Mets bullpen. Genesis Cabrera, again, up and down. He is a veteran presence. The years that he was in the Cardinals organization, they were a perennial playoff team. So he brings some sort of postseason experience to this Mets ball club. So again, Nunez and Cabrera are going to replace Minter and Young. Sound off in the comments. Tell us what you think. Should the Mets have made a trade at this point? I know it's early in the season. I personally don't think the Mets should be making a trade for a bullpen arm as of right now, especially because of how early in the season it is. We're only in May, second month of the season. I think you want to wait till the trade deadline in July to see where guys have gone, because some guys start off hot, some guys start off cold, and some guys that they perform uh, they perform well all year long, but you don't know what you're going to get until the trade deadline comes. I would rather the Mets have a wait and see approach, handle it internally, like what David Stearns and Carlos Mendoza are doing right now, and see how far it gets you. I mean, the Mets, when Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea went down, they handled the starting pitching rotation issues internally, and it's led to the Mets being in first place in the National League East so far. So I do trust David Stearns in this instance. Handle it internally and see where it goes.